Samsung's kicked off 2014 by launching the Galaxy Grand 2, a successor to last year's very popular Galaxy Grand, a phone with a big display that's aimed at the masses. So how does the Galaxy Grand 2 fare? Let's find out. Before we do, if this is your first time here or in case you've plain old forgotten, my name's Ash and you're watching C4E Tech. Let's get started. First off, the build-in design. It's Samsung and that means the Grand 2's plastic, of course. The design is what you'd expect from a Galaxy device. Volume rockers to the left, primary microphone and an OTG capable micro USB port at the bottom, the power button to the right, and the 3.5mm headphone jack on top. Notice the lack of a secondary noise cancelling microphone here. It's also worth noting that the Grand 2 is slimmer than its predecessor by 0.7mm, but the quality of the metal-esque plastic on the sides seems a little off. The buttons on the plastic sides are fingerprint magnets. This seems intentional since the sides of the Note 3 and the S4 were much better. The Galaxy Grand 2 is also a little on the heavier side at 163 grams. That's just 5 grams lighter than the huge Galaxy Note 3. On the back we have the LED flash, 8MP rear camera, speakers and the Samsung branding. And the back plate has the Note 3-esque faux leather or pleather finish. As always, it's user removable and houses the dual SIM card slots with a microSD slot stacked on top of SIM 1 and a 2600 mAh battery. Talking about the battery, the Grand 2 is quite efficient and on a looping video playback tests, the Grand 2 lasted close to 8.5 hours before finally running out of juice. Getting through a day of heavy usage on a single charge shouldn't be an issue. On the front, we find the earpiece, sensors and a 1.9MP front-facing camera. Lower below we have the LCD display and at the bottom, the familiar menu, home and back key layout. The 5.25-inch 720p LCD display gives the Galaxy Grand 2 a pixel density of 280 pixels per inch. This is a huge improvement from the 187 ppi on the original Galaxy Grand. Images are sharp enough, colors are natural, sunlight visibility is decent, and so are the viewing angles. Under the hood, the Grand 2 is powered by the Snapdragon 400 quad chipset. This houses 4 Cortex A7 cores clocked at 1.2 GHz each, coupled with an Adreno 305 GPU and 1.5 gigs of RAM. The Snapdragon 400 quad is a great chip, sure, but it's not quite as powerful as the Exynos 4412 found on the Galaxy S3, and that's evident since the S3 still manages to outscore the Galaxy Grand 2 in quite a few benchmarks despite having a 512MB RAM disadvantage. Adreno 305 is a decent enough GPU and the Grand 2 manages to run quite a few intensive games smoothly. No stutters, no frame rate drops. Audio output is good. Loud and clear via both the internal speaker and the included earphones. Using premium earphones like these Mies 11 Classics enhances the experience further. The rear camera on the Grand 2 is a 8MP shooter and performs well. The shutter speed is fast, images are sharp and clear, and the colors are quite natural. 1080p video capture was also surprisingly good. For the camera's interface, Samsung's gone with the same one found on the S4 and the Note 3 with a few notable omissions like the dual camera, sound and shot, the eraser mode and so on. Now moving on to the software. The Grand 2 runs Android 4.3 Jelly Bean with Samsung's latest iteration of TouchWiz on top. An update to KitKat will most definitely be available in the future, but as to when it will be made available, that's a question only Samsung can answer. TouchWiz, love it or hate it, does bring with it a lot of features, but not on the Grand 2. While some premium features like multi-window, the updated version that allows you to open 2 of the same Samsung apps at once, is available here. But a lot of features like AirView, Smart Stay, Smart Pause, Smart Notifications, and even the simpler motion controls like Tilt to Zoom and Pan to Move icon are missing here. The most glaring omission is the lack of haptic feedback. While vibration works for incoming calls or when you open an app in multi-window, it does not when you hit the capacitive back or menu keys or use the keyboard. Here's where my issues with the Grand 2 begin. Yes, it's smooth and performs decently, but Samsung seemed to be going out of their way to let people know that this is not a flagship. There's a difference between hardware not supporting something and a manufacturer removing features just for the sake of it. And we are seeing more of the latter here. For example, a feature like Smart Pause isn't that hard to implement. In fact, all it needs is a front-facing camera. And that's actually one of the reasons why we are seeing features like these even on low-end devices these days. Going back to haptic feedback, the hardware on the Grand 2 supports it, but Samsung's made sure it's not available, and no, it's not to conserve battery since the 2600 mAh battery on the Grand 2 is more than capable enough to handle haptic feedback. Well, yes, there are easy fixes to get it working. That's a hoop that the end user shouldn't have to be made to jump through. And these days, a secondary noise cancelling microphone is almost a standard on all Android devices. Again, Samsung's decided to omit that as well. The reality here is that Samsung's development team seems to have run into a conundrum. On one hand, they need a solid mid-range device that resembles their flagships so that people buy them, but on the other, they have to make sure that it does not lure prospective S4 buyers away. And the end result? If the S4 and the Note 3 were Samsung's precious babies, the Grand 2 is the unwanted stepchild. A good mid-range device that's being crippled intentionally. And after all that, we now get to the ridiculous price. The Grand 2 is currently priced at 23,000 Indian rupees. That's about $371 US for my international viewers. And yes, it will drop a bit in coming months, but the Galaxy S3 is actually cheaper and seems to be a much better option. With all the negative publicity for the Galaxy S4, you can most certainly pick up a used S4 in good condition for around the same price. If you are insistent on expandable storage, you can always go the Nexus route. Pay a little extra and get the Nexus 5, or even the Nexus 4 at the same price will provide you much better performance. If dual SIM functionality is very important to you, you could go with the Moto G, which again has the same Snapdragon 400 chipset. You can end up saving a few bucks and at least be assured of timely updates. But no matter what I say, I know two things for sure. One, thanks to Samsung's marketing might, the Grand 2 will sell really well. And two, this video will get a ton of dislikes from disgruntled owners. Well, it would be easier for me to say that this is a decent performer and a good buy for people who want a mid-range device with a large display, and I wouldn't even be really lying since the hardware itself is pretty decent, but I can't with a clear conscience. I can't recommend the Galaxy Grand 2 over any of the other devices that I've mentioned earlier. Anyway, I will be pitting the Grand 2 against both the S3 and the Moto G, and in case you're interested, I'll leave direct links to both videos right below the like button in the description. So what do you guys think? Do you think the Grand 2 is just another attempt by Samsung to milk the Galaxy brand dry? Or do you think the Grand 2 is genuinely a great device, great value? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So I guess that pretty much wraps up this review. Hope you guys liked it. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And for more videos like these, hit the subscribe button. And for the full written review, you can head on over to our partners over at omegadroid.co. I'll leave direct links right below the like button again. Once again, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you guys soon in the next one. Till then, this is Ash here from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.